Sean, so I'm
Yeah, boy.
I'm into it.
That's Jordan.
Jordan,
That's
okay,
my
okay.
first love.
That was my second question.
Okay, yeah.
uh, well, I want to thank you both for coming on the podcast. I'm very excited to chat with you guys. I know that I think you may have been a fan of the Instagram page for a little bit, so like I'm excited to finally
Yeah.
have the chance to get you on and talk some basketball, talk some music.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But the first thing I like to ask people is and this is for both of you guys, little tip off question. I would like to hear what you guys are currently listening to.
Josh, you want to
Um,
go first? I gotta let Piggy out.
yeah, I mean, much to my girlfriend's super sick of this, but I got sucked into the Kendrick beef, and
Didn't we
so
all?
it's been like kind of like yeah, I mean, it's so just really it's like some simulation shit. But I've been going
Yeah.
back and listening through old, I've been yeah, just been binging old Kendrick stuff and like a lot of stuff I missed that yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I kind of have that like OCD thing where I just get on one thing or listen to one
Mhm.
song over and over again or whatever. So I'm just on like it's focused on Kendrick right now.
In
Yeah.
in going back, do you have like a an album that's like kind of rising to the top in retrospect?
Yeah, I mean, I missed Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers kind of
Mhm.
like it's my fandom of him was like sort of casual. I've always
Sure.
remember when Good Kid, Mad City came out, Sean and I are both really into that. And but yeah, it was just kind of but I think that album is really, really great. And watching
Mhm.
some of the videos from it, the We Cry Together was incredible. The performance, like it's one shot with him and I can't remember her name, the actress, but it's so good and so intense. I sent it to my girlfriend. She was like, "This is too like close to home." I was like, "I
Right.
know,"
I feel
but
like that is an album that you can easily see the entire thing being a visual album and like just
yeah,
like
for
a
sure.
feature length film.
It feels that way. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That like, there's so much depth to it, and then I really like the Heart Part 4, which he wrote in
Mhm.
like I think it came out in 2017 or something. It just seems like that one is wild to me. Like predicted, you could read into so much of predicted aspects of the beef and aspects of what happened in culture and politics and
Yeah.
war and stuff. Yeah, it's like
I feel like even I always think back to, I don't know if you remember, he was on a song with Big Sean called Control.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Like start
that's the first time where I
basically.
remember hearing like he's like going after everyone, which was great. Loved it.
No, totally. Yeah, it's really, really talented. And some of the and it's fun because it's like there's just feels like there's lots of Easter eggs in his music and the way he like
Yeah.
bend words. Like in one of the beef songs, he says Joel Hale Osment instead of Haley Joel
Yeah.
Osment. So it's like Joel Osteen and Haley Joel Osment at the same time. And it's like a just really interesting. He's like a really creative in that way. And I really like it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nice. Sean, what about you?
I've been in kind of throwback mode lately. Ever since Steve Albini passed away a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, I've been going back through the whole catalog, everything he recorded and shellac, of course.
Mm.
But last night I actually went and saw the Jesus Lizard
Mhm.
play in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
And they were one of my favorites from the 90s. And they're still crazy and intense. It
Yeah.
was pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's in similar question, I guess, and going back through the Albini albums, what's kind of like what are you remembering like that like maybe you didn't notice before or something?
Well, obviously, I listened In Utero, and it's crazy how mainstream that album was. Like listening to it now, it is so gnarly and
Hmm.
just even the way it sounds and stuff. It's like I can't believe like how big of a mainstream record that was because
I
it's
mean,
just
yeah.
it's
Songs
yeah
like Scentless Apprentice and like
yeah
can't believe that was like a major
right
album, right?
yeah it's crazy to me. But then Jawbreaker 24-hour revenge therapy is one of my favorite records, and it's just awesome that they worked together back then. Uh,
Mhm.
Yeah, and I've got like the 25-year reissue vinyl, and it just sounds so good.
I know a lot of the stuff has been resurfacing about like the letter he wrote to Kurt
Sure.
Cobain, which is like,
Yeah.
you know, all the little stories that came back about Steve Albini is just like so fun to like listen to.
Yeah, he's like, I want to approach it like a plumber sort of thing. Like, you pay me for my service, and that's all I want. I
Mhm.
don't want royalties. I just want, yeah,
Yeah.
to do my
Totally.
job and
It's a
get out.
utility, yeah.
Yeah,
He was on the
yeah,
Conan O'Brien podcast a while back with uh some of the Nirvana guys, and they were talking. Yeah, he went over that stuff, and like,
Yeah.
nice.
oh, I thought it was an interesting interview. Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
also just like how much of a asshole he is, but like on purpose.
Mhm.
Like he doesn't
Yeah,
care. Like he's very
sure.
much cool with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he's a
Um,
lovable asshole, though, you know?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know you guys recently released a new album. You had Parallel Realms that came out in March, correct?
Yeah.
I guess since that has come out, how have things been since release? I think you played a couple shows and you have a tour this summer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we played a ton of shows already. We did like the first leg of tour, which
Oh,
was
cool.
4 weeks long. So it's like 30 plus shows.
Hmm.
And then we have like 7 more weeks left later this year. So we're like right in the middle of we're on a break from the
Yeah.
tours. Yeah.
How do you feel since, going back to the self-titled um in 2008 versus this album that just dropped? What do you feel is how have you guys changed as musicians slash even I'm sure as people? We all change in 16 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But um, how do you feel like the music has evolved over that time?
Mm, yeah, I mean, with this album, it does feels like we kind of are clicked into the like Starfucker sound
Mhm.
fully with this one. It doesn't like some of the other ones are kind of like trying different things, like a Miracle Miles, kind of a few different concepts jammed together, I think, and then this one is
Sure.
like feels like it has a consistent, just like unashamed. This is like what we've been cultivating for the last 16 years or whatever, something like that.
Cool.
It's like a mix of just with a lot of interludes in it, and just things like that, things we've kind of picked up along the way, and like felt like with this one it's just like a cohesive yeah
Yeah.
illustration of
Mhm.
that, I guess.
it
Yeah.
it does in listening to the album it does sort of feel like it almost becomes like the aggregate, like your sound just over time your
Yeah.
sound kind of evolves, but now it like all those albums kind of stack together and it feels like it's kind of layering in this album too, so it
Yeah.
definitely comes through.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Cool. And as you've been, I know you said you got 7 more weeks of touring. I guess in moving in that direction of basketball. I'm always curious. Do you have any like stories from tour that involve basketball, or do you ever play? While you're out on tour, you ever hoop it up?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
used to like every day pretty much. I'd always be on there like looking for a hoop or trying to
Yeah.
remember if I'd seen one. Last time we were there. We haven't been playing very much, but my favorite memory of it, like just of probably some of my favorite memories of all time around basketball were actually on tour when the Blazers in 2014. I remember being at America's Best Value Suites and Inn in Yucca Valley watching the that game. It was like I think it was when the Blazers were playing the Rockets.
Yeah, it was in
Mm.
Houston. I think it was game
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
that
It
was
was,
game one.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was the day of our Coachella set,
yeah,
2014, and we left the festival like as soon as we were done playing almost to
yeah,
go so we could catch this game. And it's like, an hour and a half drive to Yucca Valley where we're staying.
yeah.
But
Badass.
And it's like the
that's when,
shittiest motel. Yeah,
yeah, I think that game went into overtime,
yeah.
right?
That's
And
that whole series was so good. It went to
amazing.
game six. That was a game six dagger with .9 left. The
Mhm.
dang
Mhm.
hit. But I remember, I think it was that same series of we must have been touring, but we were playing a college show also in like Bellingham, and we like the game
Yeah.
was on, and we had to go on and play, so we had a TV on the side stage so we could like be
That's
like
the move.
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was like one of those old school like classroom TVs that was
Yeah.
strapped to the roller. So we literally just rolled it out side stage and had it there. And like I think it was the fourth quarter when we went on. And so we got to see them win the game while we are
Win,
playing.
yeah.
And it was just like, all right, let's go.
Honestly, I feel like people wouldn't even care if you just had it on stage with you, like
I know.
as part of the set.
We
Yeah.
kept trying to push it back, but yeah.
Yeah.
I know. They're like, you guys got to go. We're like, just give us
I know.
a little bit.
There's only a few minutes left, but in NBA time that means a half hour. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that series, that was like against, primetime James Harden, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that was that, I feel
And
like
Dwight Howard.
Dame versus Harden. Oh yeah, Dwight
Mhm.
Howard was on that team too.
Dwight Howard, yeah. And
And
he was still
Aldridge.
good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was,
No,
I feel like, towards the end of his
yeah.
primetime days as well.
Yeah.
I remember him just sitting when Dame hit the dagger and just like the look of the Rockets. I still can see the like Dwight Howard just like leaning over on the scores, like yeah, just dejected.
Is that the same series from, we see the GIF every time of Dame kind of staring at the camera?
Yeah, oh
Is
yeah.
that the
Yeah.
Right.
same
And he's
shot?
in the they're all piled up and
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
looking straight at the camera.
Yeah.
I feel like that version is, I have my own version with Derrick Rose where he gets the game winner and they pick him up and he's just like dead face, just
Oh
no
yeah.
look.
Yeah.
I feel like I relate. Yeah, that those moments are
Yeah.
like huge.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dame jumps up on the table, grabs the mic, and he's all like, Rip City.
Yeah.
Like,
Man.
just
Yeah, because
work it out.
that was like we hadn't even been to we hadn't won a playoff series, I don't think, in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think it had been over a decade or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess how do you guys look back now and the Dame era is over? I mean, like, do you still like, look back with fond memories of the time with Dame being in Portland? Do you feel like maybe there's a day he'll come back to retire or something? I don't know. How do you guys feel about the Dame era being over?
I mean, that was like there's that memory, and then another series, the OKC series where the infamous wave, like
Bye-bye.
those are like two of my favorite all-time basketball
Mhm.
memories. So like I'm just like so grateful that I was a fan at that time.
Yeah.
And I got to see all of that. And yeah, man, he was so entertaining in such a cool way for basketball. And yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if he came back. I don't know. I don't feel like anyone in Portland is like has a sore spot with him. They're just like, dude,
Yeah,
thank you for the entertainment. That was like amazing. Yeah. We were lucky
totally.
to have him. But but
Yeah,
who knows
I get
if
that.
he'll even be good enough for it
I
to
know.
make sense for him to come back. But I'm sure people will be stoked on it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, it was definitely a huge stretch. I feel like I'm trying when you're thinking of like who is synonymous with like the Blazers, I feel like he's clearly at the top, up there. You got Clyde Drexler and you got, plenty of people. I guess growing up, who was like what was the team that got you interested in basketball, I guess?
Yeah, for me it was, Clyde and Terry Porter and
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Duckworth. That was like the team that I watched that lost to Detroit and then the
Mm-hmm.
Bulls. You guys and yeah, broke my
Yeah, I
little
was
kid
I was
heart.
on the opposite end of that one.
Yeah.
So you grew up as a Bulls fan?
I grew up as a Bulls fan because I lived in South Dakota. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
So I was kind of in this like no man's land of basketball. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't even the Timberwolves didn't even exist, I don't think, in the early 90s. I don't know when they became an expansion team, but
I want to say it was early 90s, but yeah, it was still
okay,
at least
yeah.
very new. Yeah.
Right. Now in South Dakota, you got the Timberwolves or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, so and I was 11, so of course I'm gonna be a Michael Jordan fan in the Midwest. Like
Yeah. So is it the sort
I
of
was a
thing where
Michael
like
Jordan fan, even though he beat us, like everyone,
Right.
he got everyone into basketball. I feel like that was like it wasn't. Yeah, it didn't feel so bad when we lost to the Bulls as it did when we lost to Detroit, who we were supposed to beat. So.
Yeah, I feel like Jordan has that impact where like, he was the ambassador for the game, and like, anyone in like Europe who like got into basketball probably got into it because of Michael Jordan, like
Yeah.
for sure.
Sean, is it the sort of thing where if you don't have a major sports team in your area, is like it does kind of feel like the the national team was the Bulls for a period of time, right? Just because of him.
Yeah, totally. And like I said, he was just like the biggest superstar
Yeah.
that we had. Like he was bigger than anything. So yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
10, 11-year-old. It's like, this is it.
Totally.
There's nothing else.
Well, and he also just like made basketball like cool from a cultural perspective too, you know, with shoes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So are you guys staying up to date, I guess, with the current team? And how are you feeling with the future of the Blazers? And I guess you as a Bulls fan, Sean, like how do you are you still aligned to the Bulls, or do you fall with a new
No,
team? Or
I started like mainly the first 3P was where I was like into basketball, and then I kind
yeah,
of phased out of it for a long time, like started
sure,
skateboarding, got into punk rock,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then moved to Portland like early 2000s. And Portland just loves the Blazers so much, so I just like fell right in, got back into basketball. That was like Jailblazer period, so that
Oh
was
yeah,
like
you were there for that.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
like Rasheed Wallace and
Yeah.
Stoudemire and fucking Zach
Yeah.
Randolph.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Which I love those dudes, man. That
I
was
know,
fun to
yeah.
watch, but it was hilarious just reading the papers about the Blazers, and they're like, they did what? Like,
Yeah.
got pulled over in a yellow Lamborghini with how much weed? Like,
Yeah.
I like
Shit,
these
it's not even
guys.
illegal anymore though.
Yeah.
right,
But that quickly turned into like the Brandon Roy era after
yeah,
that. That's when
Yeah.
I really got back into basketball, and then started hanging out with Josh when the band started and stuff, and
cool.
we watched Brandon Roy games all the time. Like that was so fun.
Yeah.
He's
Were
the
you
one that
guys?
he could have made it
I
happen.
know,
I know,
man.
dude.
That
It's
he's and our injury curse is just like insane. Yeah.
there's a
Nuts.
couple people when you look back and like you think about players like Brandon Wright, and you're just like, there's no other reaction other than like, oh man.
I
Yeah.
know. We could have
Yeah.
Yeah, Odin and Aldridge would have been like the they only played however many games together, but we won. We were so dominant in the games where he was
Yeah,
healthy, all of them are healthy. Yeah, it's really
Yeah, Greg Oden started off like crazy. He was so good,
yeah.
and then he broke
No,
his foot like immediately, right?
yeah, he could never stay healthy.
Yeah.
But when those three were there, we were like, yeah, we would have had a dynasty if like we turned
yeah.
injuries off in the simulation. But yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if Odin really was like healthy, do you feel like he would closely resemble like Joel Embiid?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
seem
Embiid
pretty
can
similar to
shoot a
me,
little
actually.
better,
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And I mean, Odin was super duper athletic. Like he
yeah,
was really fast for how big he was. And yeah,
I
it
feel like
just,
he was very Shaq-like in like how strong he was at the
yeah,
rim.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
then there's also the alternative scenario where you draft Kevin Durant.
I know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another Portland curse. We could have had Jordan, could have had Durant. I don't know.
It didn't make sense for Jordan, like they say, because Clyde was
Yeah,
there. But for
Right.
Kevin Durant and Brandon Roy together,
I
that
know.
makes sense to me.
I know. It was,
So
But you had the Dame era, and now
yeah.
looking forward to the future. Do you feel good about, the Scoot Henderson era? Is that an era you feel good about?
No, he's entertaining, but I mean, it's hard to feel good about Blazer future just because it's the Blazers.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever gonna want to go there, like free agency and stuff. Like
I mean, they
it's
had
gonna be tough.
tried, Dame
Yeah,
tried to recruit people all the time,
yeah.
yeah.
And if he
and they
couldn't do
got
it,
Jeremy Grant.
yeah.
My impression is that I mean, I don't, I kind of fell off this year. I haven't been following, but just my impression is that until the team gets sold to Phil Knight, which hopefully will happen, then like we're in like a weird limbo state where like it's not going to be a top priority. Like seems like she's just holding on to it for it to increase value, and then I think waiting for maybe expansion teams to come in and then sell it or something. I don't know what's happening,
Could
but
be soon.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
hopefully Seattle gets a team soon. That just
yeah,
yeah,
seems like
yeah,
a sad void up there.
I
for
know.
sure.
I feel like Seattle getting a team, and then they keep talking about Vegas, but I feel like
Hmm.
maybe I'm trying to remember what one of the other teams mentioned was, but Vegas is like the NBA headquarters almost, just because they have summer league there every year, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like a major hub for them.
And with gambling infiltrating sports like so
Yes,
hardcore.
they're
Yeah.
attached at the hip. All
Yeah.
major sports need to
Yeah.
be infused with gambling. It's wild.
It's so weird. Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
It is, especially when you have people getting lifetime bans for gambling on the sport.
I mean, yeah, I know. Seriously,
It
you know,
definitely doesn't make a lot of sense, but it comes down to they can make money off of it,
the
which is
money.
messed
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Hmm.
Um,
I wonder if I thought I
well,
heard Mexico City could get a team, which is that'd be kind
Oh
of
yeah.
that would be really cool.
yeah.
Yeah. That
But
would
isn't
be
the
cool.
city super high up? Is it higher than
Yeah, its elevation's
like
like way up there. It's almost Denver, I think.
yeah, that's what I was wondering if it was like maybe even higher than Denver. But yeah,
That
have
would be
like
sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like for so long, teams have expanded into Canada, obviously, but I feel like going into Mexico would be a really cool. It's because obviously, if you go Mexico City to LA, is that any further than LA to
I don't
Chicago?
think it's
Like,
that far. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
closer than the East Coast, that's for sure.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It seems like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, I know basketball's not as big there, but the like soccer or whatever, football being so huge, I feel like
Mhm.
people would just like come to it. Like there's like a big sports fandom culture, it seems like
Yeah,
there's. So.
I feel like a good amount of players come out of Mexico too have been in the NBA.
Mm.
Not a ton, but there's a handful, and I feel like it grows more and more because basketball is becoming
Yeah,
a global sport.
yeah, for sure. Sure.
Uh, in terms of this year's season, are you either of you guys keeping up with the playoffs? Up until this point, we're in the NBA Finals right now.
Yes, sir. I started watching when the playoffs started. I like kind
Yeah,
of checked out for the season,
yeah.
especially with how the Blazers was looking. It was pretty grim. I watched a couple games early on. I was like, I think I could take a rest this year, and
Yeah.
which is also kind of nice. A tanking year like takes the stress off, you can just kind of
I kind of love a good tanking
chill
year, to be
out.
honest.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no pressure, and you can just like play all the hypotheticals.
Hmm.
It's kind of
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, who are you guys at the start of the playoffs? Who are you guys pulling for?
Kind of liked Minnesota. That would have been
That's who I
cool,
was going for. Yeah.
but Cat and Rudy
Sure.
Gobert, they're just such ding dongs. It's hard to root for those guys. Like, but Ant is amazing. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a year or two off from just like total stardom, I think.
Hmm.
absolutely.
I
Yeah, I
just
feel like
like,
it's like, go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, I feel like it's like the universal choice that everyone agrees, like, oh yeah, Minnesota is just like a likable team. Like you want them to win
Uh,
because obviously you want someone to win their first championship. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
why
That,
wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
that's
And
pretty, yeah, that's
Mike
exactly what I was gonna
Connolly, he needs
say.
a ring. We can give Mike Connolly a ring. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Totally. Yeah, what you're saying about Cat and Gobert, I feel like it's like they'll be so like they'll do so many like bonehead plays, but then they'll have like one game where they look like really solid, but then they'll
Yeah.
just go right back to doing something dumb or like taking a bad shot. Just bad.
Yeah.
Um,
And like
so
for winning defensive player of the year, Rudy's defense is not that great. I don't know. I think it's pretty overrated,
Hmm.
if you ask me.
should have gave it to Wemby.
Yeah, yeah, right. His numbers were better.
They
I
were
mean, they didn't win
Really?
any games. That was probably the problem, but
Yeah.
probably. I do love the quote that he had was like he's like, go ahead and give it to Gobert. It'll be his last one.
yeah,
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
nice.
that's
I
good.
feel like, I mean, I have not been following this year, but for a long time, the NBA it feels like it's like men's like maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's like reality TV type like gossip entertainment
Absolutely.
that's just like I don't know. It's a really nice like thing that's not inconsequential to just pay attention to for me. It's like
Yeah.
really nice to have that. But
It's I've said this a bunch of times, but yeah, it's very much like reality TV, or I've even said pro wrestling.
yeah.
It's the
If
personalities
yeah,
that
exactly.
you
Yeah.
get hooked on. And I previously had Will from Hotline TNT on, and he has the same theory. He's like written zines about it, about like the celebrity and reality TV aspect of the NBA.
Yeah.
It really is just so fascinating. You're surprised there's not an actual reality show about it.
Yeah, I know, totally. I mean, it definitely does feel that way, like in my girlfriend doesn't follow sports at all, and then like when we watch something, I'm like explaining the backstory, like this guy came from here, and this is like why I really like him. This one, he's kind of a prick, blah blah. There's like it is
Right.
like wrestling in that way, and I don't know. I think there's a cool like also just way like there's a it's interesting going to a Blazer game and you're just with all these strangers cheering for the same thing that means nothing, but you know everyone it's a kind of a cool way to bring people together over something that
Yeah.
it's just even if it's just temporary, you like everyone may have different political opinions or whatever that be from all these different aspects of culture, but they're like all can get together for this thing for a little bit. And it's like I don't know, I think it's something just innate in humans and it's like healthy to have that actually. So I don't know.
For sure.
Oh.
I feel like too, if you try and explain some of like those like weird storylines, it just sounds so ridiculous. Like remember when Kevin Durant was like doing like the burner phone stuff? Like,
Oh my
Yeah.
so
God.
Kevin
Yeah.
Durant, he has a fake Twitter account that he is responding to trolls. It's like it just sounds so absurd. But that stuff just happens in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I love that he got busted doing that too. It's so hilarious. Like,
And a ref got busted for that too, right?
yeah.
Uh,
I don't know
People were
about the ref.
criticizing the ref, and he like was like, actually,
Nice.
yeah. And well, did
ridiculous.
the one of the Sixers like GMs did that too. Like had a I
Hmm.
don't know.
It was around the process era. I think there was some stuff with
Yeah.
Sam Hinkie. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny, man. And my wife doesn't watch a ton of basketball, but it's always fun updating her on the storylines
Yeah.
because it is like you said, very reality TV driven.
Yeah. No, totally. It's I mean, there's
Um,
the Kendrick beef felt like that too, like trying to explain it
true.
to her. I was just like, no, but then he released it right after, just like all the drama. It goes back
But
to Controlverse like 10 years
right,
ago.
right.
You know,
The lore, yeah.
sound crazy. She's like, I don't know what you're talking
What's
about.
funny too is like you even have like the angle too of the NBA on TNT guys. You got Charles Barkley and Shaq and
Yeah.
Ernie Johnson. They're like the commentators, and um, very sad to see that era possibly coming to an end.
Yeah.
No, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen with that? Didn't Chuck say that he would like try to keep it going somehow? I thought I read a
Yeah,
headline,
I
saw
wonder.
something on Reddit about that.
I wonder if they did like a YouTube series or a podcast, if it would be remotely as successful. I think people just go because I'm about to watch the game. I like the accompaniment of them with my game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely good paired with it's them with being the
Right.
commentators. And it's
Yeah.
it's definitely the context is important for it. But
Mhm.
I
It's
mean, I
weird
can't
that,
see them going to NBC, but maybe.
yeah,
yeah, I don't see that either. It's weird not having them for the finals. It's like
Yeah.
feels like something's missing. It's like, wait, what's this should be
yeah,
them. Like what?
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
love
end
seeing
of an
Doris
era.
do the finals though. That's
Yeah.
amazing. The first woman to ever commentate on a major men's sports
I mean,
event,
Doris
which
is
is
great. She's a
crazy.
legend.
Yeah,
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 I love her. She's my favorite.
for sure.
she's
Um,
the first. That's wow, interesting.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Huh.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, we're currently in the NBA finals. By the time this episode goes live, game 4 will be that
Oh,
night.
okay,
So
nice.
we won't have it won't be over yet. We won't know what happens game 3, but with all that aside, Mavs and Celtics, how do you guys feel about the series, and do you have any predictions for how it's going to end up? I mean, we got 2-0 Boston right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Hopefully
Um,
Dallas brings it when they go home. What is it,
yeah.
Wednesday they play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Celtics are gonna take it. That's my
Yeah.
prediction. But I think Mavs will make it a series. I think it'll go 6 or 7 at least.
I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it deserves a longer series than a sweep, but
definitely.
um
It looks like
Luka and Kyrie are fun to watch together. They just like are inconsistent if they're clicking or not.
yeah. And Kyrie's kind of laid a couple eggs already.
Hmm.
So
They've been
Mhm.
shutting them down.
yeah. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like they figured something out with the
Yeah.
defense, Boston. Yeah, but sorry, my cat's feeding me. What's going on?
did Porzingis get hurt again at the end of the I didn't get to watch the game last night, but I was just following the score. But I saw something today on Porzingis got injured again at the end of the game.
I didn't see.
Oh, really?
I did
Yeah,
the same thing. I was just following along.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully because he was game one. He was a huge difference maker.
Shoot,
Yeah,
that was
he's
actually
going
like
crazy.
amazing to
Yeah.
watch. Like
Yeah,
first game back, he just went nuts off the bench too.
crazy.
It was fun to watch. He really is a unicorn. When he's on, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
his defense too, just both ways.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
his his weird like line drive 3-pointer, like just
mhm,
no arc at all, just straight to the bucket. It's so weird to watch.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah,
And
I
and
like
also,
it.
Celtics are up 2-0, but Tatum hasn't been very good. So he's bound to have like a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he was like 6 for 22 last game. Um, I mean, he's bound to have. He usually does that where he'll like have a couple stinkers, but then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna drop 38," and
Yeah.
then he'll call it. So
Yeah, he's probably due. I mean,
we'll
I
see.
like some of Dallas's role players too, like Derek Jones Jr. He was a
Hmm.
Blazer for a little bit, and that dude is just amazing to watch. He's so athletic,
Yeah.
like can literally jump out the building. Like he's crazy.
Hmm.
And
Totally.
Lively, I really like Lively as a rookie. Even he's like he'll probably do something stupid every once in a while, but he's got heart, man. I like it. I like watching
Yeah,
him.
he goes very strong and he gets very physical on
Yeah,
defense, especially.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I loved when Derek Jones was on the Bulls. He does have a lot of energy, man. He's a good chemistry guy for the team.
yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Celtics are probably going to take it in the end, but just hoping we get a couple more extra games out of it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, hope the NBA hopes so too. I don't know if
Yeah,
they
right.
wanted this as the finals at Dallas.
I know. I
No, I
mean,
mean, if you look at it, like in the playoffs, we had Philly, we had Boston, we had the Knicks. Like, they wanted like a Knicks Boston finals. That's what they wanted.
yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
Eastern Conference.
Eastern, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Eastern Conference Finals, but then like
yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
the whole East. But it's weird that we don't have LeBron or Curry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They all got either eliminated first round or weren't in the playoffs. Like it's crazy.
That's really well.
Change of
Doncic
an
is like
era.
coming up as I mean, he's really fun to watch. He's pretty annoying personality, but like really, I think he's really fun to watch.
Who's that? Who you
Who
said?
was
Doncic,
that?
Luka,
Oh yeah,
like
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
like I feel like the NBA is probably happy at least about him
Sure.
and yeah, those
I
two.
mean, even if it's not like ideal the team's playing, you're still going to get someone a major like star getting their first championship, like no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's
Tatum and
true.
Brown are going to get a championship, or Luca and Kyrie's already got one, but Luca will get a championship.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The
And
whole
even
like
before that, yeah,
Kyrie revenge on the Celtics storyline is there too, which I hope they can win. Like ideally they'll win in Boston once. How does that work? So it'd be game 5.
5, yeah.
I'd love to see him win in Boston just so he could be like, fuck you, everybody. Like just
Yeah.
once
I,
at least,
I
even
did see
though
him leaving the game at the end yesterday and saying, "I'll be back for game 5."
okay, nice.
So
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. I love because Boston fans, they're typically or historically like so shitty. Like and I just love their hate towards Kyrie because I'm not a Kyrie fan either, but I like the feud.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like seeing
Absolutely,
Drama.
that back and forth is great.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, So all right. The last thing I like to do with people as they come on is there's like a little game I like to play calling it Build a Band. And the goal is to have you make a band out of NBA players. Now this could be any era, it could be, you know, whatever you feel, whatever instrument you want them to play. Um, what do they sound like? It's whatever you guys feel, but it's a fun little game I like to play with people. So I'm curious if you're down, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, Josh, do you have anything?
Um, I didn't think about it ahead of time, even though I knew that. But I would say, I mean, just off the top of my head, Bill Walton is cool. He's like an old
Mhm.
hippie,
Oh yeah.
deadhead.
RIP, yeah.
My dad said he used to see him riding his bike to things. Like he's just yeah, he'd be like a nice, like goofy, laid back bass player kind of guy. And
That's what
then
I was thinking, yeah.
Nice.
Walt would be a good like front man, like intense energy. and just mainly can think of
The Deadhead vibe is right because I feel like he
yeah.
even had like he wore like the wristbands too, and I feel like that's perfect for like playing the bass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, totally. He could tell, yeah, I could just see him. Clyde Drexler would be a good drummer, just like kind of mellow dad vibes. Like he always had like a dad vibe, it looked like to me. And,
It was the hair for sure.
Yeah, he was
for
bald
sure.
like straight out the gate, right?
Yeah. And he was kind of like timid personality wise. It's in my memory. I don't, I
Mhm.
guess back then we had way less access to them.
Fair.
But also what's his Ant on Minnesota. I thought he was so good in Hustle. Like, did you guys
Yeah, he
see that?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was,
Yeah,
and he just, I don't
He's
know,
kind of
he's,
been playing himself in the playoffs now.
sure.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, maybe you want to rewatch that movie, but like, yeah, I think he'd be that like intense kind of a personality. He seems like he's like a good glue, like a good person to like, I don't know, for the team to be formed around. Like he's
Yeah.
just can get them motivated and engaged.
I've had a lot of Anthony Edwards frontman picks. I feel like
Mhm. That's
he definitely has the energy to be like either lead guitarist or lead vocalist.
yeah, totally. Maybe I don't know. I
So
used to collect
it's a wild
basketball
card
cards.
now
I'm
because
trying to think
you
of
could just
like
be a
the
trio,
I
but
no
if
no
you got
totally or like it was like one of the goofier. I don't know. Yeah, that's a I don't know. Did you think about this, Sean? Did you?
Yeah, yeah, I thought about it today. I got a band. It's all Blazer players from
Oh
the
yeah, no.
love
past,
it.
but yeah, they're gonna be like a post-hardcore kind of like angular guitar kind of stuff, like Drive Like Jehu style, like
Nice.
intense. But Nick Batum is gonna be my drummer because
Nice.
he's got those lanky
Hmm.
arms, and he just looked cool playing drums, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I'm gonna make Lillard the bass player just because I think it'll kind of piss him off that he just has to play bass. He's smooth though. He'll be good.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the guitar players are gonna be Sheed and Zebo,
Nice. Yeah.
Trailblazers. They'll get
Hmm.
crazy.
Progression.
They'll get crazy on us and just like sick, yeah, slide crazy guitars. Um, Remember Will Barton? He was a Blazer
Oh
for a
yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got this fun
Oh
energy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. For
Undrafted. He's
some
got that
reason,
undrafted energy,
Yeah.
the one thing I
Underdog.
remember about Will Barton all the time for whatever reason is that he had like the skinniest legs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like lanky.
Yeah. Very
He's
just like thin
go off.
limbs. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was a great role player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
What?
hops too. He could take
Yeah.
over a game like randomly too, like just out of nowhere, just Will
Hmm.
Barton taking over and like score 30. You'd be like,
That's
what?
Totally.
he
Okay.
has that thing where you could just turn into Kobe randomly for a
Yeah.
night and then
Yeah.
just go back to. Yeah.
It's like
Wait,
a
where did
similar
he?
thing to like Spencer Dinwiddie. Like Dinwiddie could like have a great
Oh
game where he'll
yeah.
drop like 45, but then he'll go back to
Dude.
just,
Yeah, when
eight
he
Yeah.
and
played for the
six.
Nets, he would have crazy games.
Yeah,
I think I had him
absolutely.
on my fantasy team a few times. It was like, all right,
Yeah.
he can work it.
Awesome.
So Barton is gonna play synths. He'll just do good energy synthesizer stuff. And then my singer though is Evan Turner. You guys remember Evan
Oh
Turner?
yeah,
Oh,
that's
and
good
I
actually.
know the way he talks, so
His
that'll be
frog voice,
Yes,
interesting.
yeah. No,
yes,
he's
he's
got
got that weird
yeah,
like alien kind of voice. Like,
yeah,
Well, Kermit the Frog, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I
And
just want
he's
to hear
funny
him
as hell
sing.
too. He's
Yeah,
like
he's really
full
funny.
personality. Yeah.
Which you know
Yeah.
what? I feel like people sometimes say the same thing about Josh Caterer from Smoking Popes. So like maybe there's a similar
Okay.
energy there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
like
don't
a
know.
weird voice too. Like
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I don't know if he'll fit the vibe of the music, but I just want to hear him sing a little.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you
feel like
could
he'll
kind of have like a
bring
Donald Fagen thing, like see, like just like a slightly strange voice. Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that. Yeah.
that's a
He'll
good.
bring some of the he obviously didn't have like the fullest career, but he'll kind of have that chip on his shoulder as a vocalist.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Love
Yeah,
it.
there you go. That's where the aggression would come out.
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
That's
What
solid.
happened to Will Barton? Is he still in the
Well, he
league?
I
went to
don't
the
think he
Nuggets with
Oh,
that tr a follow trade, and then I
huh.
think he just played a couple
Yeah.
years. I don't think he's in the league anymore.
Okay.
He was in the league was 2022, 23. He was in Washington and then got traded to Toronto. But yeah, he was in Denver for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, that Denver trade that sent Barton over was, I think, when we got Aaron Aflalo, and that was our 1 year with Lillard.
That
That's
was
the
the one where
year.
we could have done it, but
Yeah, Wesley
Wes
Matthews blew
got
out his
hurt.
Achilles.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the season.
I was on
That-
MDMA when I read that, and then it like being on that drug, like it made me so sad because I was really invested that year, and I was just like, I wish I didn't. No, it was Chance texted the basketball thread. We have a thread with some of the crew and band people, and I was just like,
Nice.
oh. Like I don't know, it was
Really
like
shook you.
yeah, it really did, man. I thought you could only, be happy on that, but I felt like I was just like wide open, like a little kid having my dreams crushed. Like, but that's kind of
Man.
what being a Blazer fan is anyway. So,
Right?
yeah.
Being a Blazers fan is getting bad news on MDMA.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh,
Sweet. Well,
was there.
love the bands that you came up with. Incredible. But that's kind of really all I got for you guys. I really appreciate you coming on and talking basketball. It's been fun talking Blazers
Yeah,
and playoffs and whatnot. So thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for
yeah,
having us.
And
definitely. Thanks, man.
and you guys will be on tour starting when?
The end of July it picks back up.
Cool.
By August,
Awesome.
September, November.
Yeah,
Sweet.
actually it's 10 weeks because we go to Europe for 3 weeks after the 7 weeks in the US. So
All right.
we'll be out there. We'll be everywhere.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks again for coming on, guys. Great talk.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.